Ayan. All right. Hello, everyone. I'm back. I hope you liked my previous videos, and if so, please do show some love by keeping the ads on and clicking the like and subscribe button as well. For today, we'll continue our discussion on data modeling and data models, and that we can learn from the Data Management Body of Knowledge, second edition of 2017. Now, as we go further, let's talk about data modeling. What we learn soon is that data modeling is most frequently performed in the context of systems development and maintenance efforts, known as the system development lifecycle. Data modeling can also be performed for broad scoped initiatives, for example, business and data architecture, master data management, and data governance initiatives, where the immediate end result is not a database, but rather an understanding of organizational data. Now, a model is a representation of something that exists or a pattern for something to be made. A model can contain one or more diagrams. Model diagrams, they make use of standard symbols that allow one to understand content. We have the maps, organization charts, and building blueprints. They are examples really of models that we use in every day. So a data model describes an organization's data as the organization understands it, or also as the organization wants it to be. A data model, it contains a set of symbols with text labels that attempts visually to represent data requirements as communicated to the data modeler for a specific set of data that can range in size from small for a project to large for an organization. The model is a form of documentation for data requirements and the data definitions resulting from the modeling process. So data models, they are the main medium as we speak, used to communicate data requirements from business to IT, and within IT, from analysts, modelers, architects to database designers and developers. Okay, so let's go over the types of data that are modeled on screen. Well, four main types of data can be modeled, and the types of data being modeled in any given organization, they also reflect the priorities of the organization or the project that requires the data model. First, let's first look into category information. This is referring to data used to classify and assign types to things. Okay, for example, customers classified by market categories or business sectors. We have products classified by color, model, size, etc. And then we also have orders classified by whether they are open or closed. All right. Now we also have resource information. What about? This refers to basic profiles of resources needed to conduct operational processes. So, for example, product, customer, supplier, facility, organization, and account. So, among IT professionals, now resource entities are sometimes referred to as reference data. All right. Okay, next bullet, we have business event information. So, this is data created while operational processes are in progress. So examples are customer orders, supplier invoices, cash withdrawals, business meetings, and then among IT professionals, event entities. They are sometimes referred to as transactional business data. Okay, let me hold on for a bit. Okay, let's go to the Detailed transaction information. Detailed transaction information is often produced through point of sale systems, either in stores or online. It's also produced through social media systems, other internet interactions. Yeah, clickstream, etc., and by sensors in machines, which can be parts of vessels and vehicles, industrial components, or personal devices. We're talking about GPS, RFID, we're talking about Wi-Fi, and so on. So this type of detailed information can be aggregated, used to derive other data, and analyzed for trends, similar to how business information events are used. So this type of data, large volume or rapidly changing, is usually referred to as big data. Okay, now in summary, we can also look into these uh, types of data as data at rest. Okay, now what we'll learn in data management book of knowledge is data in motion can also be modeled. So for example, in um, in schemes for systems, including protocols and schemes for messaging and event-based systems. Now, let's start looking at the different data model components. And I'm pretty sure we won't be able to cover everything on data model components. We'll be able to touch an entity, and that's all there is to it. Okay. So as will be discussed later in the coming videos, perhaps different types of data models, they represent data through different conventions. However, most data models, they contain the same basic building blocks. We have the entities, we have the relationships, the attributes and domains. Okay, let's start looking into entities. Okay, hold on a bit. Okay, so outside of data modeling, the definition of entity is it's a thing that exists separate from other things. So within data modeling, an entity is a thing about which an organization collects information. So we can think of entities as sometimes referring to as the nouns of an organization. So an entity can be thought of as the answer to fundamental questions. We're talking about who, what, when, where, why, and how, or perhaps a combination of these questions now, as we'll see later on. Now, in the upcoming list or screen, we'll be able to have an opportunity to get some examples of the commonly used entity categories. Okay. Okay, we'll start at who. Who, by definition, it refers to the person or organization of interest. So that is who is important to the business. Often, a who is associated with a party generalization or role, such as customer or uh, uh, vendor. We have persons, organizations. They can have multiple roles, can be included in multiple parties. So what examples do we have on the screen? We have the employee, payment, player, or suspect, even customer, vendor, student, passenger, competitor, and author. Okay. Now, up to the next category, we have the what. By definition, what it refers to the product or service of interest to the enterprise. So it often refers to as what the organization makes or what service it provides. So that is what is important to the business. Okay. Um, Attributes for categories, types, those are very important here. And examples that you might think of would include the product, we have service, raw material, finished good, course, song, photograph, and even book. Okay, we have the next category, when. Now, it refers to calendar or time interval of interest to the enterprise. That is, when is the business in operation? We can take a look at some examples such as time, date, month, quarter, year, calendar, semester, fiscal period, minute, even departure time. No, okay. Okay. Moving forward to where, the next category, it refers to the location of interest to the enterprise. And by location, it can refer to actual places as well as electronic places. That is, where is business conducted? So we have the mailing address, an example, distribution point, website URL, IP address, even that one, okay? And next, we have the why. The why refers to event or transaction of interest to the enterprise. So these events keep the business afloat. That is, why is the business in business? So for example, we can have the order, return, complaint, withdrawal, deposit, complement. We can also have inquiry, trade, and claim. Okay. Next, we have the category of how. How this refers to documentation of the event of interest to the enterprise. So documents provide the evidence that the events occurred, such as the purchase order, recording an order event. That is, how do we know that an event occurred? So some examples would include invoice, contract, agreement, um, account, purchase order, even speeding ticket, packing slip, trade confirmation. And then lastly, we have here measurement. And by measurement, this refers to counts, sums, and perhaps aggregation of other categories. So we're talking about the what, the where, at or over period points in time. So then we talk about also the when. Okay. So some examples that we can think of is the sales, the amount of sales, item count, payment balance, I mean payments, and then balances. Okay, so that's a lot of examples for each of these categories on screen, and really I hope that makes sense of what this all mean to you and to me as well. So we'll stop for this part here, and we'll continue along to the next video. But for now, please do show your love by clicking the like and subscribe button and sharing it as well, of course, please. Thank you and have a great day ahead there. Bye bye.